Yeah, my familia has dwindled to next to nothing with COVID. It's the two of us all the time because you can't see anybody, you can't have anybody over. It's yeah,
Yeah, okay.
not complaining. Everybody
Just need to slow down a bit on getting to the next item because it's hard to jump to all our.
Okay, so well, I'm gonna go 1 through 32. Whoops.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, we are not live.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome back. We're reconvening our Special Electoral Area Services Committee that was from this morning at 9:30. And welcome back, everybody. And we will go to where we left off at R17, Ms. Harrison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. R17 is a report from the Finance Division regarding the 2021 electoral area supplemental requests, listing 32 items of various types. Would you like me to read them all, or do we want to pull some, or what's your pleasure?
I thought we would go to each one. What's the committee's pleasure to go through each one? I think it would be best at this time. We're all a little weary and it's better to really concentrate one at a time. Thank you. So if you just start with number 1 and then we'll carry on and see.
Madam Chair, could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
So after I think I've read this 2 or 3 times, and there's some subtle distinctions and a lot of these are going to not result in much or any of a requisition change. They're funded from different.
And do you know which ones they are?
Well, I was going to suggest that you might just turn it. The person on your right, or on my screen, Talitha,
okay,
is Miss Soldera is right there, and I think that she could probably lead us through this quite nicely with all of those details, right? So just a suggestion.
So thank you. Thank you. Good suggestion. Could you do that for us, Miss Soldera?
Absolutely. So the supplemental requests are usually done in numerical order, but this year we've framed them a bit differently. So the first one is deemed the most important by the senior management team. Then we have 3 that are in direct answer to the board's strategic plan and the staff's attempt to address the items in the strategic plan. Then there's a whole bunch that are directly related to asset management plan, and then a few other items. Of all of these 32 requests, only 5 actually will increase requisition over the level of 2020. And if they were all approved, the total requisition increase would be 0.1%. So it's a very limited increase, although there are a large number of items for the committee's consideration. So I'm happy to only bring forward for particular discussion the ones that do impact requisition, but I think it's definitely worthwhile discussing any that the committee wishes to in further detail, because they do address specific issues for various functions. So.
Okay, what is the committee's pleasure? Director Acton? Director Acton?
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't hear what order are they in?
Ms. Soldera?
There was just one word that got cut out.
Sorry, the very first one is deemed to be of most importance by the senior management team. The next 3 are strategic plan items. Then there's a whole bunch that are asset management items, and then other items like the fire departments aren't directly included in the strategic plan or the asset management plan, so there may be a few for the fire department functions, that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Director Morrison.
Well, again, I've had a pretty good look at these. I don't have a lot of issues in these. I'm interested in obviously the high priority ones, and might suggest that we just pull individual directors if there's it's probably easier to pull the ones out that people want to talk about their own area, as opposed to going through each one. So I'd suggest that we could do a block, except pull the ones that of our specific interest.
So we're going to continue like we were doing before as well. So I'm going to ask Ms. Harrison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also received a copy of an email that was sent from alternate director Colin Haim, who is unable to attend this portion of the special ESC. And he's asked that 2 Area H items under R17, which are number 9 and 29, be referred to the January 13th meeting.
Okay. So we have that request. We need to move those two. It's been moved, seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. So 9 so
Can we hold
far.
on 1 second? Director Salmon's calling me.
Oh,
Maybe he can't get in.
sorry. Okay, Director Smith, go ahead. We're waiting for, I didn't realize that Director Salmon wasn't on. Go ahead, Director.
Yes, I'd like to pull 7, 8, 12, and 17.
Okay. And so is there any other ones that people would like to pull? Director Nicholson?
I'm not sure the number.
Madam Chair, can we just adjourn for 2 minutes? Just
Okay.
to let Director Salmon join us?
Okay, so on those 2 minutes,
He
could you
needs the
check?
email again.
Could you go down?
working on it.
Okay, thank you. So let's recess for 2 minutes to wait for Director Salmon. But I could go through a few people's ones that they want to pull at the same time, and then Director Salmon would be on. That's
Okay.
what we're doing currently. So he's not missing anything. I'm just, I have Director Smith's ones to pull, and I'm moving to Director Nicholson.
Okay, sorry, it would be helpful if the numbers were on the other sheet. I would like to talk about the building step code 1 and the Bright Angel Park picnic shelter. Excuse me. And I think that was all.
I need the number. I don't know where. Bright Angel Picnic.
Okay, just a minute. That's number 10, I think. And the step code is number 3.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to pull to have them? Director Acton.
Sorry. Yes, thank you. Well, perhaps, Madam Chair, you would like your Area D Parks 1 to be pulled? I thought maybe the chair couldn't do that, but I guess you can.
No, no, that's fine.
Because I thought your budget went back, but
Oh,
I would like to discuss further I'd like us to look at things like maybe this replacement vehicle on number 11 for function 325. Are these things that have to happen this year? Perhaps, items that can be deferred another year, because I think things are really tough for families. And I wanted to be able to pull number 25 and just hear about the Shawnee Beach Estate Sewer System Lagoon work. And
Director Acton, I missed your first one. It wasn't, what was your first one? 25 was your second one?
number 11.
Okay. Okay. And 11, 25
And number 14.
Okay. Has Director Salmon managed to get back on yet? And thank you for the number 5 for mine. For Area D. Okay, are we still waiting? Do I need to take a break for Director Salmon? I'm not seeing him here. I think we're going to have to do that. Take 5 minutes. Is he still having, sorry? He's still having challenges? Does anybody know? Has anybody followed up with him?
He says he still has not received the email.
Can't hear you.
Sorry,
Mr.
thank you, Madam Chair. I have actually sent him 2 invites, so he may be having some equipment issues.
Okay.
Or I can try again.
Well, I think we'll take 5 minutes to try. So don't go away. Just turn off your cameras and mute, and we will check in 5 minutes. Director Morrison. But I'm not sure if he had a chance to speak to his either. Just wait for him, I guess.
Oh, Madam Chair, we are live.
Okay, thank you so much. So we just finished with, we've had Director Acton pull hers, Director Smith, Director Nicholson, Director Salmon. Do you have any?
Just the number 3 that I think's been pulled already.
Okay, and Director Morrison? And not seeing anyone else. Okay, so we can start with 3. Ms. Aldera.
So item 3 is for the supplemental request for the building inspection step code implementation. And with respect to this one, it is a $10,000 proposed increase to requisition, which would be 2.9% over its 2020 requisition.
Okay, so number 3, Director Salmon.
Yeah, thank you. So my question for, I guess, Mr. McDonald, just this is for communication about the step code. I was wondering if we looked at, like the province has a whole set of resources about the step code. Is there a reason that we need to have our own communication on this?
I've reviewed a lot of stuff that's online. I think for developers and builders, it would be helpful for us to do it. I know most other jurisdictions are developing their own materials, so we'd also be beg, borrowing, stealing from them as well. We'd probably utilize some consultants and have some public meetings similar to what North Cowichan did. So there would probably be some after hours time involved as well. So we will try and keep the numbers down, but it will cost a little bit of money to put the resources together.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I did see Director Smith's hand up. Was that just for something else, or is that with number 3?
It was for something else. I was wanting to pull number 1. I didn't hear anyone else pull number 1, so I apologize.
Okay, so 3. Now, would we be voting on 3 or leaving it when we do the whole block? How do we want to do that? Director Morrison.
Well, I from a procedure perspective, we've sort of indicated the ones that we wanted pulled. So wouldn't we just pass the block and then debate individually the ones? That's how we normally.
Yeah, we do, but this one is okay. Oh, okay. So every other one, but it's all over the map. So procedurally, we move them all except for, is somebody going to be marking these down? Except for 1, 3, 7, 8, 11, 14, 12, 17, 25, and 10.
I believe
So
in
we're moving-
number 5 as well, I believe.
And 5, yes, for the washrooms area D. So all the rest,
Madam, there was more, 26 and 29.
I didn't have that.
Point of order, Madam Chair. The first recommendation the committee passed was to refer number 9 and number 29 to the December 9th meeting.
Thank you. That was done. Thank you. And then we move the rest all of the others, except for the ones that I said, we're moving them now. And it's been moved and it's been seconded.
And 26, please, too, then.
26 is being pulled?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so what's ever left in that, I hope somebody can mark that down for me, and we are moving. So,
Lori, excuse me, Chair. I think that Miss Alternate for Area H was moving those two to January 13th.
it's been done.
Good.
Okay.
That was done before we started the polling. So we just have whatever is left, and it has been moved and seconded. I'm going to call the question, and I hope someone's keeping track on this. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion is carried. Now we're finishing up with number 3 and Director Nicholson.
Yeah, I went and looked at a lot of the material. I'm wondering, should we be harmonizing with North Cowichan on this? If they're doing similar meetings and so forth, it makes this is one thing where everyone has to do the same thing. It seems that we should be able to get some efficiencies by working with other people and using their materials. $10,000 seems like a lot of money to me.
Go ahead.
I have been in contact with their chief building inspector, and actually the lady that came and did the presentation was the same consultant that did the presentation for them. So we are harmonizing our materials from them. But as far as developing and the costs, there'll still be staff time and possibly overtime and after hours time to do some of this work. So that's why the figure is presented.
Director Salmon? You're on mute. Can't hear you.
Sorry. And North Cowichan also has a different level of step code that they're putting in right now as well. Is that not true? Mr. McDonald?
I believe that they've implemented step 2 and are going up to step 3 in the near future. But what we did is we're just going to follow what the province's regulations are. And the funding that we're looking for isn't just to develop for one level of the step. We're going to actually develop materials for all the levels. So even though if a request a supplemental for one time, that will be to develop all of the materials. So likely you'll see the province sometime this year go to step 2. I was looking even this morning, I still have seen nothing solid to give me a date for that. But we are looking voluntarily for people to go to the step code. And we've even had one building application going that direction. But what we need to do is get these materials developed so that we're not utilizing a lot of staff time to educate the public.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we can now vote on number 3. Is there a mover and a seconder? Moved and second. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. And now we'll go back to 1. So we had 3. So 3 is done. We'll go back to number 1. Go ahead, Ms. Soldera.
So this is for land management software with respect to the community planning function. In 2021, operating surplus will be used to fund the majority of this. There will be a small increase required to requisition for the ongoing maintenance of the software in the future. But that wouldn't start until 2022.
Okay, Director Smith, are you moving it? Director Morrison?
I'll move it.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Now we have Director Smith to speak to it, please.
Thank you. maybe land use will be able to answer this a little bit further. I just had an opportunity to be in a workshop about tech, and they said that the tech industry is changing really quickly, and that I have concerns that with the purchase of this program, will we be looking at having to purchase a new program in a few years? Is there any sort of timeline that this program will be beneficial? And then whether we have to move on within a few years to a new system? And who is it, in-house maintenance or is it outsourced?
Ms. Cheroff, I believe? Or is it to Ms. Saldera?
It's sort of an IT question, and I'm not sure
Oh.
if, I believe Sharon Hefner might be in the boardroom. So she might want to chime in, but so our intent would be to go with a provider who would be able to work with the CVRD for the long term. We're not looking for a fly-by-night software developer. We're looking for somebody who's got an established reputation and good experience working with local governments in this arena, and that we would and I mean that's the point of the ongoing maintenance and licensing, is that they are continually working to improve their products and to adapt to changing technology. I believe Sharon's there.
Ms. Hefner?
Hello. Just wanted to say that with any software, there's always the risk as companies change ownership. But overall, we would expect to get at least 5 years, ideally 10 out of it, because as Ms. Cheroff said, they're always changing and upgrading, and that is what our maintenance costs pay for.
Thank you. Is there any follow-up? Okay, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. So that's 1 and 3. And I'd like to refer number 5 to the, was it the January meeting? That the next meeting, I'd like to, I forget if it was the January or December 9th. Now, I'll do the January 13th, I think.
It's a special corporate services meeting on December 9th.
Oh, okay. That's where I'd like to move it to. Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. Moving on now to number 7. Ms. Saldera.
So number 7 is for upper, just have to double check which one I'm doing, the upper sport court surface replacement in area G, and it would be funded out of the capital reserve.
Director Smith. Are you moving it?
No.
Oh.
Unfortunately, as of the 9th of September, the Centennial Park report was referred to the APC. There hasn't been an APC meeting to go towards where the direction of the community is wanting to go with the Centennial Park. I think I would not support this motion at this time. I think it's something that can be discussed with the community, and we come back maybe in 2022 with the direction that we're going with Centennial Park. So how will I approach this to not have it continue?
I guess you, Mr. Farquhar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Smith is quite correct. We've been attempting to organize a meeting with the Community Parks Advisory Commission Saltaire because twofold. One, there's the draft budget for 2021. There is also the referral by the committee of the Saltaire Centennial Park Revitalization Plan, public feedback. And through that process, we really want to work with the commission and the community to finalize an overall plan looking forward in terms of not only the existing park facilities at Saltaire Centennial Park, but any other interest the community has in terms of wanting to develop and implement a plan there over the next 10 years. Our challenge right now is that through our asset management program and the conditional assessments done, those assessments have included the likes of the sport courts at Saltaire Centennial Park. And the upper courts in particular are in a condition that without tending to them in terms of repairs, upgrades, we're approaching a point where decisions around having to remove them are going to have to be made. And so at the end of the day, it's really, I think, the challenge, I think, for the coming year to determine with the community, with the available funds for parks in Area G, the community's priorities for built amenities, and through our asset management program, the condition of existing assets, what those priorities are going to be. And so I concur with Director Smith. It's perhaps a little premature to be endorsing forming a decision. These were prepared back in summer when we thought we were proceeding through with a process in the fall, but due to the pandemic, things have certainly slowed up. I have no issues with the committee deferring these or making note to hold them up and perhaps bring them back at a point in time when we have better clarity on the priorities for that park. But just the committee needs to be aware that we could reach a point where the condition of those assets in the park in the interim may have to be closed because of their condition with regards to public safety. So as long as the committee is aware of that, certainly I think the avenue forward is continue to engage with the community and with the commission in terms of coming up with an overall plan for that park.
Director Smith.
Yeah, this survey shows that these two courts are very hardly ever used. So to move forward with anything at this time would definitely be not the direction that we should be going. We should listen and hear what the community has to say. So I'd like to not move this forward at this time.
So you'd like to refer it to?
No. Not refer it because we're going to go through a consultation process. These are reserve funds. They can be moved out at any time in a later date. So until with COVID and consultation with the community, this is going to be a slow process and we're not in a hurry. If anything, the courts can be locked off. One of them has already got mesh around it and can be locked off.
Okay,
So
that's what I was
not move forward with these at all. Thank you.
Okay, so do we need a motion to that effect, Director Moore?
One.
Okay.
Yeah, how about something like this, that the supplemental request for function 237 Community Parks Area G Upper Sport Court Surface Replacement not be approved?
There we go. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Moving on now to number 8.
This is the exact same as the one you just discussed.
Oh, Director Smith. I don't have it in front. I'm just going by my numbers here. I'm trying to keep tabs. Director Smith.
Yes, so we'd like to do the same as the last one and not move forward at this time with this.
Okay, so a motion to the same as the last one. It's been moved by Director Smith, seconded by Director Morrison. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. Moving on now, I have 11. Number 11? It's actually Director Acton.
Number 10.
Oops, 10. Thank you. And 10 is Director Nicholson.
Yeah, I'm actually supportive of this. I was just wanting to ask a question of staff.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Farquhar, is it possible when you do the lower picnic shelter that you could also make it a little bit more appealing? The upper one is really nice because people can move in and out and it's welcoming, but the lower one I don't think gets the use that it probably deserves because it's kind of boxed in.
Madam Chair, through to Director Nicholson, you've definitely zeroed in on exactly what staff have identified as well and wanting to open it up, aka remove all the pony walls and increase the light and airiness of that shelter.
Okay, so you're moving that, Director Nicholson? Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Wait, sorry, I had a question.
Oh, any opposed? Well, is it considering this? It would change the vote? Go ahead, Director Acton.
Well, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm trying to make sense of the financials here and what it says. It talks about replacing the roof. And it says that both of them need replacing, but it's not clear that it looks like it's only for one of them. So that's my question.
Okay.
And it's $80,000 to just replace the roof. And so by reading this, it says that 20,000 will come from transfer of operations costs, but it doesn't read properly to me. Maybe
Mr. Farquhar,
on the roof and then on the budget.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through to the committee. This is a 4-year program laid out in front of you to deal with both shelters at Bright Angel at a requisition amount of $20,000 in the budget each year over the 4 years. So the intention would be in 2021 to requisition 20,000, which would go into reserves. In 2022, that 20,000 would come out with an additional 20,000 requisition to complete all the improvements on shelter number 1. And that would be repeated over the following 2 years. So it's a 4-year program to deal with the shelters.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So is everyone clear now? And I'm going to, Director Nicholson.
So are we making a decision on 4 years or just this year?
Mr. Farquhar.
Madam Chair, this would be a decision on 4 years in terms of a capital project.
Thank you. Now I'll call the question. I don't see any other hands up. You have another question on this, Director Salmon?
Yeah, just to confirm, so this is a regional, we're all paying for this?
This is Bright Angel Park.
So this is
A, B, C, and D.
South, okay. A, B, C, and D, and E?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll try again. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. Thank you. And Ms. Harrison, are we going to 11 now?
That is
Okay,
correct.
11, Director Acton.
I hadn't written down if it was being bought from reserves or not. Okay, so 100% from reserves.
Ms. Soldera?
If I may, the cost of the vehicle, the actual purchase price is from reserve. There is a very small increase to requisition of $2,000 for the annual operating costs of that vehicle. So for insurance, gas, that sort of thing. We are currently, in reading the supplemental, currently staff are having to use their own vehicles in some instances. This is essentially a new vehicle, not a replacement vehicle, as we did not replace a vehicle last year.
Okay, moving number 11. Director Morrison and Director Nicholson. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. Moving on to number 12. Director Smith.
Thank you. We do have another situation here where there's a consultation process that's going to take place. These funds are from reserve. They can be pulled out at any time. So I'd like to not move forward with this at this time and not refer it to any other meetings. After it's been discussed with the Port Commission and the community and the staff, will have a better understanding of the funds that are needed for the work. Thank you.
That's the same as your other resolutions then. Okay, it's been moved by Director Smith, seconded by Director Morrison. I call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. Moving to, where are we? 14, Ms. Harrison, I think?
That is correct.
14, and it is Director Acton. Director Acton?
Thank you. I didn't write this one down either. Can finance just quickly state whether this is just coming from operating reserves?
Ms. Soldera?
100% of the cost is coming from operating reserve. As it is a replacement vehicle, there are no additional charges for ongoing costs.
Thank you.
Okay, would you like to move that? Moved by Director Morrison, seconded by Director Acton. Going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. We move now to 17. Got it right. 17, and it's Director Smith. Your microphone's off.
Thank you. I have a question to staff in regards to this. The town of Ladysmith received the grant for investigation of the dam. Is this in conjunction with that funding? Can you please clarify that? Thank you.
Ms. Soldera, is that you? Who does it go to?
I notice Mr. Dennison is on.
There we go.
Madam Chair, I don't know if Mr. Hatami would want to address this one or not. This is not actually directly related to that. This is we've got a couple. As I mentioned earlier, there's lots of things going on at once in Saltaire and lots of unpredictability. But we've just learned a little while ago as well that apparently there is potentially more dam funding to apply for coming up. So there's possibilities. We've just kind of got a placeholder here of some funding. If we need some more consultant work or whatever for another application or to support applications or anything else we might need to deal with the dam issue, in addition to the work that's already going to be done for the funding that Ladysmith's already got. So that's already moving along. And in fact, there's been an RFP issued and we're going to get consultants lined up for that. So that's a separate thing. This is potentially more work or anything else that may need to be done for there or for the well that we've got as well. We're shortly going to be submitting for licensing for that, and there may be some additional work related to that as we work through that process as well. So we thought we'd put a placeholder here. It's reserved fund money, so it doesn't affect requisition or parcel tax or user fees. So it's there. So if we need it, we can draw on it.
Director Smith, are you moving that?
I just have one more question. So if Saltaire is putting funds towards the dam, will it be matched with equal funding from the town of Ladysmith?
Madam Chair, I can't speak for Ladysmith. So far, on the dam work we've done and everything, we've done that 50-50. And so there's been, whatever costs are coming from current money have been shared 50-50 to date. I can't make that promise on the part of Ladysmith, obviously, but that's been the understanding all the way along.
Okay, are you moving it, Director Smith? It's been moved. Is there a seconder? Been moved and seconded. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. Moving on now to 25 and 26. Did I miss anybody? This is Director Acton. Director Acton, 25?
Yes, thank you. Oh yes, I just wanted to verify if it was if it was with reserves or if there was opportunity for grant funding for this. I know that we have a lot of families that live in the beach estates, and so
who would that be with staff? Ms. Soldera, go ahead.
That one is actually partially from the parcel tax and partially from operating reserve.
Director Acton?
Okay. I'm just trying to pull it up here because I can't have all these open at the same time. And the numbers don't match the 328.
What is
Okay. There's the attachment. Sorry, got it.
Okay. That's okay.
Thanks for your patience, everyone.
Mm-hmm. So what would you like us to, what's your pleasure, Director Acton?
So the parcel, so where's the parcel tax amount?
Go ahead, Ms. Saldera.
So for clarification, so there is $55,000 that would come from the parcel tax, but my understanding, and Mr. Dennison can correct me if I'm wrong, but is that this will be accommodated within the current budget for the function. So it will not be an increase in the parcel tax. It will just be accommodated within the current budget through other reductions. Then there's 67,655 coming from reserve.
That's the intent, Madam Chair. We're years and years behind. We cleaned out the upper lagoon, the lower lagoon. There's two lagoons in the system, and the lower lagoon, we're actually seeing sludge islands developing on the surface and trees growing out of them and things like that. So you really need to do it, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Okay.
Director Acton, are you moving that? It's been moved. Is there a seconder? And is there any more questions, Director Acton? Are you okay? Okay, so I'm going to call it. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. Down to the final one, I believe, Ms. Harrison, is 26, Director Acton.
Okay. Oh, is my sound on?
Yes.
Oh. 328. Yeah, I just wanted to, I know that we already discussed this today, but now my brain's not, it was foggy before, but now it's really foggy. Understanding this position, we're going from a part-time to a semi-permanent to a permanent position? Can someone please remind me?
Mr. McDonald or, excuse me, Ms. Cheroff?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I was pointing at Mr. McDonald, but I realize you all see him in different places.
No, I didn't see you pointing. It's going from a regular part-time to a regular full-time.
Yeah, and I guess why, can I follow up? Sorry.
Sure, I have Director Morrison as well has a question. Go ahead, Director Acton, and then Director Morrison.
I guess I feel like when I see bylaw and adding items to it, it's kind of a red flag for me because we're still talking about doing a review. So I would expect in that review, maybe there's efficiencies or anyway, so that coming forward shortly seems premature to be moving forward with positions. But so maybe someone can talk to it a little bit more as to why we should be thinking about increasing the position.
I believe, yeah, go ahead, Mr. McDonald.
Yes, to you, Madam Chair. So the part-time position that we've been utilizing has really allowed us to put more, call it boots on the ground. So I think it should almost even this one have been part of the strategic plan because it really now is allowing, instead of my bylaw officers being in the office doing a lot of administrative work, they're actually spending more time working on actual bylaw out in the field. And also with all the records management that's going on right now and the changes, the position has really helped out. So we really see the benefit from this going from just a part-time position to a full-time position. And I think it would align with the strategic plan.
Okay, Director Morrison. I have Director Morrison, just a second. Director Morrison, Nicholson, and Smith, if I've seen enough the hands. Okay, go ahead, Director Morrison.
Well, I was going to move the recommendation because I was going to say exactly what Mr. McDonald said. We've been talking about trying to get boots on the ground and more enforcement done, and it seems like the solution is being put before us right now. So I would move the recommendation.
Is there a seconder? It's been moved and seconded. I still have a speakers list. I have Directors Nicholson and Smith.
Thank you. I would just like some clarification. I remember that on the building inspectors, we funded a electronic forms and that kind of thing to improve efficiencies. And I heard earlier today that as a result, much of the support person that they had was being used in planning because they didn't need it. So I'm wondering if this is a body that's required or if there is a technological fix that might speed things along.
To you, Madam Chair, I'm not sure what you're referring to as far as something from building that's been shuffled to planning in that aspect. The program was really introduced to create efficiencies, but also prevent liability, and it's been very effective that way. And I'm not sure, what was the second part of your question?
My actual question is hiring another half an FTE to do this administrative work, could it be done by doing some improvements on technology so that you're entering stuff more electronically directly into filing systems and so forth, instead of having to spend a lot of time at the office?
Through you, Madam Chair, we're not aware of anything like that. There still requires hands-on, and this position, she does a lot of phone answering, and she's actually becoming very adept at actually answering some fairly easy calls. So she's working out really well that way. And as far as any programs, you would still have to enter the data, which still even happens on the building side of things. So there's still some office time required, and this person can take that up.
Director Smith?
Yes, I see that the funding for this position is through permit fees. What were those permit fees covering before, if they're going to be moved over to cover this position? Were they covering something else?
Through you, Madam Chair. So very difficult to predict permit fees, whether it be building or bylaw. So we've seen quite, it's gone very well through what permit fees we've brought in through the bylaw side of things. So it's anticipated that we'll cover this position, but there's also a contingency plan as well, should that not cover. But the idea was that we've been sent a zero requisition mandate. So try and stay within that zero mandate. I've put forward that we would just pull it out of permit fees.
Is there any more questions to staff? Director Acton and then Director Salmon.
Well, I think Director Nicholson brings up a good point, because there's actually no reason in this day and age that a bylaw needs to come into the office to do any kind of, we're all walking around with a personal computer right here. So it would be like just inputting it while you're there on site, or while you sit in your car becomes your office. And there's no longer driving back and forth, and I think it's just an efficiency point of, we no longer need to do business the way we've always done it. But anyway, just a comment.
Director Salmon, did you have your hand up?
Yes. Just a question on so the sources permit fees out could include soil bylaw permit fees?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other hands up, and I'm looking around the room, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. Are you opposed, Director Acton? Opposed, Director Nicholson and Acton, if I got that right. Thank you. Motion is carried, and now we need to go to question period. Is that correct, Ms. Harrison?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, that is. And
So is there...
I just checked the email and we have no submissions.
That's great. Okay, only because it's been a very long day. So a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, and all in favor? Opposed, if any? I got a workout. So
Good
thank you so much.
Madam
Good
Chair.
night.